Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Kim Sei-wan, Professor of Economics at Ewha Womans University. Professor Kim, good afternoon. Thank you as always for coming on the program.
Good afternoon, Devin.
Well, the U.S. markets will be closed for Thanksgiving on Thursday and Friday, but ahead of that we have stocks on Wall Street closing higher on Tuesday. The S&P above 4,000 points for the first time since September. What's the story in the global markets?
U.S. stocks rose Tuesday in thin pre-Thanksgiving holiday trading, with U.S. investors remaining focused on the path of Federal Reserve interest rate increases. The S&P 500 climbed 1.4% after dropping 0.4% in the previous session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 1.2%, and the Nasdaq added 1.4%. Many U.S. traders were away from their desk ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, and there is still much for investors to consider as they try to chart the path of markets and interest rate increases. Rising COVID-19 cases in China have raised concerns among U.S. investors. Also, uncertain outlook for interest rate in the U.S. generated by Fed still provides another concern on U.S. equity market. In 2023, investors largely expect the Fed to pause its rate hiking cycle to allow the economy to absorb the effects of monetary tightening. All major Asian markets in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai advanced today.
Right, and so did Korean stocks. It seems on hope for recovery in the U.S. economy, and also other issues you mentioned. Shares of the shipping company HMM were up around 8.5%. Shares of the entertainment company Showbox up more than 15%. Gains for other media companies too, with the government promoting that sector and China resuming broadcasts of Korean content. So tell us about the domestic market.
Domestic markets expanded today in both Kospi and Kosdaq markets. For a whole week, domestic equity market declined almost every day, but U.S. markets rise positively affected domestic markets today. The key interest rate decision by Bank of Korea tomorrow would be a reflection point of domestic equity market trend for this year. It is highly expected that Bank of Korea raises its key interest rate by 0.25% up to 3.25%. The benchmark Kospi advanced 0.5% and Kosdaq gained 1.9%. In Kospi market, foreign investors led market upside with net purchase of 83 billion won. Most of large cap stocks advanced today along with the whole market. Samsung Electronics rose 0.7%, but the second largest cap, LG Energy Solution, dropped 1.8%. Among the large cap stocks, Celltrion and POSCO Holdings also dropped today.
Well, Professor, as we heard a minute ago, business sentiment here in Korea has gotten worse for a third month in a row. For November, a survey of businesses finds they feel conditions deteriorated this month. The sentiment index falling 1 point to 75, well below the 100 neutral level. What do you see happening to business conditions in Korea?
According to Bank of Korea's survey, Korean manufacturers' business sentiment for November dropped to a more than 2-year low amid growing economic uncertainties and persistently high inflation. The business outlook index for manufacturing sector fell to 75 for November on a seasonally adjusted basis from 76 for October. Actually, it was the lowest level since October 2020. In the survey, manufacturers cited economic uncertainty as the biggest difficulty, accounting for almost 23% of total responses, followed by rising raw material prices and weak domestic demand. The gloomier business environment also found in non-manufacturing industries like finance, travel, education, and so on. The business sentiment index for non-manufacturers also inched down to 76 for November from previous 77 for October, hitting the lowest level since March 2021. The declining business sentiments are related to higher interest rates and global economic downturn. Most of economic forecasting institutions expect that this year's 2% Korean economic growth would be going down to 1% level next year.
That's right. And then let's talk about inflation, Professor. Expectations among consumers are that over the next 12 months, prices will rise 4.2%. And that's a decline from last month's reading. Another sign inflation may have peaked. What do you make of the situation?
Household inflation expectation is a very important figure as of now because it shows how much the spiral between general inflation and wage goes on. According to another Bank of Korea survey, Korea's inflation expectation edged down on month in November ahead of Bank of Korea's widely anticipated rate increase this week. Ordinarily, household inflation rate increases this week, but the consumer price will grow 4.2% over next year, down 0.1 percentage point from 4.3% surveyed the previous month. Consumer prices jumped 5.7% in October from a year earlier. It still is far higher than the central bank's midterm inflation target of 2%. This lower inflation expectation of households indicates that the central bank will likely to slow the pace of its rate increase this week to a 0.25 percentage point, citing growing worries about the economic slump, jitters over credit crunch, and a recent rise in the won against the U.S. dollars that will help to ease price pressure from imports.
Right, and we'll have to watch and see what the Bank of Korea does and talk about that next time, Professor. Thank you, as always, for coming on the program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Devin.